Hi guys, good morning to all of you. I hope you are all doing great. Today I'm coming away with another interesting topic on know your right as a power consumer. Last 3 days I made a video about how we are going to minimize our electricity consumption in order to be able to cope with the impending power electricity tariff increase. That is what I said, and I have made up a lot of topics that we will be discussing as time would permit, so that we all know what to do when these increments are done. Now, what do we use at our houses? What do we use electricity for? We are using electricity for so many things. We use it for so many things, both commercial and domestic. So whether we like it or not, we will use electricity, we will use power both at home and at work. So what we need to do is that we have to prepare ourselves, whether we like it or not. This increment is going to happen. We are not sure whether the 143 that is being asked by the electricity company of Ghana will be given to them or not. We are not sure whether the 330 that the percent that the Ghana Water Company is asking, whether it will be given to them or not. We don't know about that, but what we do know is that they are going to increase electricity tariff. They are going to increase the bills. So we need to prepare. Now, how do we prepare towards this impending increment? Already, we are having a lot of problems paying our bills. There's already a lot of people who are finding it difficult to pay their bills. How more when it is increased? So we need to prepare ourselves. I always believe that the power is in your hand. Electricity workers don't come to your house and force you to use your gadgets. The power is in your hands. You can still manage your electricity consumption. That is why I am focusing on this particular aspect of our electricity consumption. It's very, very important, because it is you in your house, it is you in your office. No one comes there with a gun and tell you that plug the air conditioner, plug the fridge, do this, do that. No, you have to decide. It is your own judgment. It is your own way of doing things. Nobody will force you. So it will be easier for us to cope. It will be easier for us to manage. For instance, let's say I'm using a refrigerator, let's say the deep freezer. I'm using this because there's no house that you enter without seeing a deep freezer, because these are normally the gadget we use to store our meat, our food, everything is the deep freezer that we use. Now, we know we can't do without the deep freezer. It will always be on, and we have to store food and then use it later. So the deep freezer is one of the most important gadgets in the house. Now let's come to the air conditioning. The air conditioning, to me, it is meant for the rich, because it is expensive. Buying it alone is expensive, and coming to use it at your home, it is also expensive, because you are going to use electricity and your bills will go high. I normally see air conditioning not a necessity but a want. It is not a necessity but a want. It is something that you want. It is not. If you don't have it, you will not die. If you don't use electricity, if you don't use air conditioning, you will not die. So you are using air conditioning because you can afford it. But now, how do we also use our air conditioning without being billed a lot of, without getting a lot of bills? Because electricity, air conditioning uses a lot of power. So to me, I will just suggest that when you can't afford to pay, put your AC off. It is the rainy season, and then the weather is very cool. The weather is cold. Most of the time it's rain. So you can take this advantage and always make sure that your AC is off. Even if you are going to use it, find certain times in the night, in the afternoon. Maybe if you are home in the afternoon, maybe the weather will be hot. Just on it for some few hours and put it off. Don't leave it for 24 hours or 12 hours. It is going to generate a lot of bills. So what I'm saying is that there are some gadgets that I call them ones because they are not. We can live without them, but there are some too that we cannot live without them. If we live without them, we will suffer a lot. Like the deep freezer that I'm talking about. People prepare food, they prepare soup. Somebody can prepare soup and put it down for 1 week just to manage his pocket, just to manage his resources. So deep freezers are very important because we store food in order to use it for a long period. But air conditioning, though it is also a one like I've said already, but we can live without it, or we can even manage it properly. Now, there's another one that I think that there are some gadgets that are not necessary, and I want us to prepare and make our mind that when they eventually increase these tariffs, the most important thing we have to do that we have to cut some gadgets off, take them off, stop using them, like water heaters. They consume a lot of your electricity bill. When they bring a bill, it's because they don't how would I put it? Because they don't group them the items you use, or the bill doesn't come based on the type of gadget that you are using. They just give you a bill and say this is how much you consume. But if you have a heater and you're using the heater, it is one of the higher consuming gadgets, and that might be causing your high bill. So just cut it off. Just find some stove or some coal pot, put some charcoal small, and then heat whatever you want to heat. It is as easy as that. But if you use this gadget, expect to pay more. If you are paying 100 cedis and they make an increment right now, let's say 100%, you are going to pay 200 kind of cedis. So if you don't you don't cut away some gadgets, you don't stop using some gadgets that are not necessary, that we can live without them, then you are going to suffer. You are going to suffer. Because, look, whether we like it or not, this increment will happen. It's only the percentage that we don't know how much it is coming, but we know they will definitely increase it. So if we have this mind, we are not going to suffer at all. We are going to be okay. Now another one is, I think I've talked about the water heaters. They take your power, almost 14% of your consumption every month. It is very, very serious. Another one too that I would like to talk is about microwaves. These are things that microwave. What do we use microwave for? Most of the time we use it to heat our food. We use it to heat our food. So what do we do? If these things are giving us a lot of headache, giving us a lot of pain, what do we do? Let's stop using them. Use the charcoal. I am talking to those who are going to suffer. I know there are people who are willing, even if they want this to increase liability to 1,000%, people will pay because they are comfortable. But majority of people are not rich, but they want to live comfortable, and for that matter, they use these gadgets. So how do we manage them with this impending power increment that is coming? So we need to just find some gadgets that are not necessary, that we can live without them. Because if you want to heat food, you can easily use the charcoal, use the stove, use some this thing, and you are okay. But if you are using all these things and light bill comes and you are crying, look, I am saying all these things because I am someone who has interacted with a lot of, if not hundred thousands of customers when it comes to their complaints. I have done a lot of investigation on customer complaints, and most of the complaints they are giving to you, you go and realize that these are some of the gadgets that is making their light bills go up. So I usually try to give them advice. Stop some of them that are not necessary, stop them. Another one too is a blender. I know blenders, all these things that I'm mentioning, they are very important in our lives. Sincerely speaking, they make our lives very, very comfortable. But that is if you have the way, if you can afford it. You can go and buy a blender. The buying is not the problem, but paying the electricity bills is what is always the problem. Because at the end of the day, you can have your blender, your air conditioner, your refrigerator, all these things gadgets are down. But if they disconnect your light for not paying bills or for not able to pay your bill, how are you going to use them? They will become meaningless. They become waste. So we need to first concentrate on how we use this thing so that we can have the power